Hi, my name is Robin Foreman. I'm a teacher at Marshall Elementary. I'm a special education teacher for kindergarten through 5th grade. Last year, my first year of teaching, I really struggled with how to actually teach students to read, which is kind of ironic because I was supposed to be a reading intervention help. But I didn't think any of the ways I was being taught made any sense. Then this year we got a literacy specialist who is really into independent reading, and I started doing my research and meeting with her a lot, and it just made sense. It seems too easy. A lot of times it just seems like that was too easy of an answer to just let the kids sit down and read, but it turned out it is the answer. I started doing independent reading at the beginning of every one of my classes, and my favorite example is a little girl who's in 2nd grade who in kindergarten was diagnosed intellectually disabled. And last year it was exciting if she just had 3 or 4 sight words she could remember that day, because nothing stuck. She knew the letters, she could tell the sounds of a lot of letters, but nothing would really stick. She'd see a word one day and the next day it wouldn't really be there. About 2 weeks into the independent reading time, and now this is only 20-30 minutes a day, I'm not talking hours and hours a day, and she was reading a book called Me, and it said the word me and my in it a lot. The next book she pulled out, and she saw the word my, but she didn't know what it was. She went digging back in her box of books to find the other book that said the word my in it. And she goes, oh, that's my, and she made that connection. In that moment, I knew this was the answer, because if that student could find a connection between books and learn her words, I knew that all of my students could. And ever since then, the stories are just endless. Every single day, I sit with my students while they're reading. I see something new happen. That same student actually this week was reading a book, and she said, parrot. And she looked up and she goes, that can't be parrot, that's not a P. And she thought for a minute and she goes, bird. And that was it. That was the word in the book. And there's just been so many times like that, just from 20-30 minutes of reading a day. And I just really believe that even though this seems simple, independent reading really is the way to make any student read, no matter what their ability is, what grade they're in. Just give them a book that's on their level, make it enjoyable, and you're going to change their life. Okay, so with independent reading, you can't just give kids any book. And unfortunately, my library was just things I had handed down from me, and a lot of my books were really too high for my students. Even when I would go looking in the media center, we have a great library, but sometimes it's just really hard to find those books that are right on the level for my students. And I needed a library I knew it was important to have right there at my kids' hands, at their level, every single day. So Title I came in later than usual, and I decided I can't wait for other people. So I wrote a grant, and within 2 weeks it was funded. And between my grant and books I scavenged around the school to find books on my students' level, I collected over 300 books in just a matter of a couple weeks, leveled them all, and my students now not only have books on their level in the classroom, but each student takes home a bag of 4 or 5 books every single week. They come back with their bag and they get a new bag every week, and it's just been amazing. A lot of times on Fridays, my students beg me, Miss Foreman, when are you coming to trade our books? Are you trading books today? Because they're so excited to get their new books. And for some of their parents, it's the first time they've ever seen books that are on their kids' level. Because as a teacher, I could hardly find books that were on my kids' level. I could never imagine being a parent trying to do that for a student who's struggling. So it's just so important that whatever way you do it, to find those books on your kids' level and get them there. Don't wait for somebody else to do it, because you're the one who can give your kid the access, not somebody else.